Hi everyone. This video is an overview of business analytics. Hopefully by the end of this video you'll be able to define and understand some basic definitions and concepts relating to business analytics. First we're going to talk about some background information. Why do we need to know about business analytics? Then we're going to talk about the basic definitions and concepts that you need to know. And finally we'll talk about some examples and applications of business analytics in the real world and why it's relevant to me, you, and to all businesses today. The best way that I know how to explain the background and the need for business analytics is to talk about the huge amount of information that is in our world today. In 2002, a little over 10 years ago, it was estimated that there were 5 exabytes of unique stored data in the world. And it was estimated that that was growing by over 30% per year. So how much is 5 exabytes of data? It takes about 2,000 bytes of computer memory to store one page of written text. It takes about 5 megabytes, that's 5 million bytes, to store a large book like an encyclopedia or a volume of Shakespeare. One CD holds 700 million bytes of data. Well, to store all the data in the world in 2002, you would have to have 7,000 million CDs, or you could record it in 1 million large volumes of books, or equivalently about 2.5 billion million pages of written text. Now technology has advanced even more since 2002, and the amount of information is growing even more exponentially. So in 2002, the amount of data in the world was in the order of exabytes, but we're still growing really fast. Going back to 2002, it was estimated that there was about 3 petabytes of data just in the Library of Congress. About 520 petabytes of data are created each year when people take over 52 billion photos. There are many petabytes of satellite data and thousands of petabytes of telephone data. This was all in 2002. Moving to today, it was estimated 4 years ago that the World Wide Web had about 500 exabytes, or half a zettabyte of data. And today, some estimate that the amount of recorded information in the world has reached up to 4 zettabytes. So this is what we call big data. So this can create a real problem for businesses who feel like they're drowning in the amount of information that they have at their fingertips, but they don't know how to sort through it. The information on this slide comes from a survey that was taken in 2003. But I think if the study were conducted today, it would have very similar results. So go ahead and pause the video if you'd like to take a closer look at this slide. But in essence, it's saying that it's really difficult to sort through the information and find what is most relevant and would help them to make strategic decisions. This is where business analytics can help. Business analytics is the use of data, information technology, and quantitative analysis to help managers gain improved insight about their business operations and make better fact-based decisions. So now let's talk about some related terms and concepts that you might have heard in relation to business analytics. Business intelligence refers to a collection of applications and technologies that are used to gather, provide access to, and analyze data and information. A business intelligence expert might be someone who is very technical or very smart at mathematics. They are very good at creating the business intelligence models. But a business analytics expert is one who can take business intelligence and apply it well in practice in making good strategic decisions. Business intelligence tools can be really quite sophisticated and complex, but there are some business analytics tools out there that build on top of business intelligence tools and provide information to managers that is clearer, simpler, and easy to interpret and apply. Data mining, which comes from computer science, uses mathematical algorithms to find patterns, trends, and relationships among data. And predictive modeling also uses algorithms to predict future trends. So business intelligence, data mining, and predictive modeling are all sets of tools that are available to help when you're doing business analytics. But business analytics is more than the tools. It is applying the tools to make strategic decisions. One thing I wanted to know about data mining, we're talking about it here in the context of business analytics, But data mining has some very interesting and valuable business applications even outside of business analytics. For example, forensic data mining is used to analyze patterns of computer and network behavior to detect possible information security breaches. And similarly, data mining for internal controls is a process of analyzing patterns of business transactions to determine possible fraud or error. So you did a simple case of this last week in class when we did Benford's Law in Excel. Okay, back to analytics. So the goal is to move not only from data to information, but also to information that can help inform your strategic decisions. So most businesses have data such as sales figures for a day, or information such as an income statement. What business analytics does is takes this data and information along with some other input and helps you understand and predict what products customers can purchase in the future. So you might have guessed based on the video so far that there's a strong relationship of business analytics with the profitability, revenue, and shareholder return in businesses. Business analytics enhances the understanding of data, and in today's world it's vital for businesses in order to remain competitive. Here are just two examples of some strategic decisions that were made with the aid of business analytics. First, Best Buy used business analytics to segment their customers. They used business analytics techniques to first determine who were their high and low margin customers, and then to make the key decision of what was the most effective distribution channel for them to focus on. Another example is Harrah's. They wanted to increase their gambling revenue, and this data helped them to decide which customers they wanted to segment and which promotions they wanted to use in order to become more profitable. Here's some more examples of strategic decisions. I won't read through all of them, but you're welcome to pause the video if you want. But the main takeaway is that business analytics is helpful across many industries. One final example that I wanted to point out is that we have a professor here in the Kelley School of Business who studies the use of analytics to help professional sports teams improve their performance. So this is a fascinating example of how business analytics can improve the success of an organization. At the bottom of this slide, you'll see there's a URL where you can go and watch an interview with Professor Wayne Winston. And he talks about how one of his former students, Mark Cuban, used analytics to help the Dallas Mavericks win the NBA championship. Okay, to wrap it up, business analytics is very important for accounting professionals. Accountants are those that are traditionally called on in businesses to provide information, and business analytics can take your job one step further. Managers count on you to provide key information that will inform their strategic decisions. For information systems professionals, there are a lot of opportunities right now to develop and customize business analytics tools. And we also see that there's a transition from chief information officers to hiring chief technology officers and chief data officers in organizations. Chief data officers are those that focus solely on business analytics. Finally, there's a URL here to an accounting consulting blog where they also talk about the relevance of business analytics for accounting and systems professionals today.